Warning, Dazzo Radio is not responsible for any losses, damages, or liabilities that may arise from the use of this podcast. 1K frequency is not intended to replace professional advice, and our views may not necessarily reflect those views of our featured guests.
Great to have you here with us. Welcome to 1K Frequency with your hosts, Dazzo, Skittlekicks, and Atlas. Hey, great to have you here with us again. Welcome to 1K Frequency with your hosts, Dazzo, Skittlekicks, and Atlas. And our top story today, we've got the DOJ investigating a Boeing mishap. Boeing 737 door blows out at 16,000 feet in the air. Guys, what are your thoughts about that?
Well, that's a fucking scary situation. Fucking Christ.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that. I read that, and I was like, actually, that happened a little while ago. This is the first time an investigation is going into criminal for basically negligence, in my opinion.
Yep.
So they think someone sabotaged it, basically.
No. What we're finding out, and this is what I will tell you, because this is part of my notes here, and so we're gonna first start with this happened when they were mid-flight, and they were 16,000 feet in the air, so that's only halfway to their cruising speed, right, which is usually around 35,000 feet. So think about where those doors are, right, and then just one of them just pops off. Now, I don't know if anybody was sucked out of the plane, because obviously at that speed, you're going to have a big vacuum just pulling things out, doors, windows, doors, people, objects, whatever. They've interviewed the flight attendants and the passengers that were there that day. They haven't really gone into details like what those interviews consisted of, but what brings me to this next point, though, is what they have talked about a little bit is like the FAA, for example, had a meeting recently where one of the ladies on there said that, there's too many white men working there, too many white people, too many men and things like that. And there's not enough diversity. So there's a whole woke mentality. They're not hiring people as like mechanics that actually have skill sets. They care more about skin color. They care more about, ideology versus what they can actually do. I'm not kidding around. This is legitimately what they are doing. These are diversity hires now. So diversity hires now are working on your airplanes. There are planes coming out right now that are missing bolts, that literally stuff is so janky built that literally we're losing the wings, the doors, everything. In fact, there was another plane that took off the other day. I can't remember what it was, but they lost a wheel as they were taking off. One of the tires actually fell off.
I think it was another Boeing.
Was it a Boeing? Yeah. So
I think it was another Boeing 737. I can't remember.
And see, this was Alaskan Airlines. Yeah. The one I'm talking about is Alaskan Airlines. But yeah, that one, I think that was like an American Airlines that lost that tire. Literally, it was I think it was a 737, so that's got 8 wheels for the wing or for the middle body, and then the front wheel has 2. And it was one of the 4 wheels that fell off. I think it was on the right side of the plane. Now, just think about that, guys. This is now where we're at with flight, where they say, "Oh, it's the safest thing in the world. It's safer than driving," and then stuff like this happens. What the hell? And I have to go back to what? So you're not hiring quality mechanics. You're talking more about skin tones and having my feelings and all that stuff. Like your ideology is so like everything is so backwards. And then I'm thinking, okay, so how many people are going to have to die? How many plane crashes do we have to have before you get rid of that garbage? Get rid of those attitudes. Get rid of that mentality and go back to safe flight, making sure your passengers are taken care of, and bring it back to when airlines were actually a pleasure and not some like we're just going to, smush everybody into a a container with wings, a big long thing with wings, and, not even comfortable and not even feed you like they used to do back in the day. I mean, is that what it's going to take? Is just people dying? Is that what it's going to take? Is more plane crashes before somebody wakes up and says, yeah, this is part of the problem? I don't know. Opinions?
I fucking agree with you, man. It's sad that we have to listen to the news to find out stuff like this is happening when Boeing is one of the biggest aviation companies out there.
Manufacturers. I think they are the biggest plane makers in the world.
And you'd think fucking quality assurance would be one of them. Put quality assurance back into the fucking business.
I would say for every business, for that matter, quality does matter. And when we're talking about a plane, we're talking about an airplane flying 16,000 feet off the ground. Okay, mm-hmm. You're gonna splat if that plane goes down. You're gonna explode on impact. And what happens if this happened at 35,000 feet or at cruising altitude? Are you kidding me? What then? And you're right. I mean, the we have to start looking at, who's responsible for this. If the FAA cares more about diversity hires and the airlines are doing the same thing, who's pulling those strings? What kind of kickbacks are there? Like, who's getting the money? And who has to continuously die? I will not fly. As much as I want to see my fiance, I don't even want her flying ever again. Knowing what this garbage is, I don't even want to give these companies my money ever, 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 because I don't trust them. I absolutely do not trust these airlines. I don't care if you're American, Delta, Alaskan, Sun Country, or whomever. Or Spirit. I don't trust any of you fuckers out there. What you're doing is criminal when you're allowing your planes to fall apart like this. These are multi-million-dollar pieces of equipment, and this is the quality that you're now getting. I mean, you're building planes like Microsoft has built Windows over the decades. I'm going to say that you are building your planes like Microsoft builds Windows. So eat that one. What say you, Atlas? What say you, Atlas?
Personally, I've never trusted airplanes just in general. Mm-hmm. And with all this new stuff coming out, it gives me more reason not to trust it because, one, I'm afraid of heights.
Right.
But two, knowing that they're cutting so many shortcuts, trying to get everything done quicker, with planes coming out with less bolts and everything and stuff like this happening.
Oh, no. These weren't less bolts. These were literally bolts not even put in, or they were drilled in the wrong areas.
I mean, what's next? A window's going to fall out? Half of the plane's going to just be cut in half like the Titanic?
I'm waiting.
No thanks.
We've already had it where the shroud around the engine blew apart.
I've seen that video. I remember that video.
That was like in the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And these are supposed to be the safest.
Scary.
And this is supposed to be the safest mode of transportation, safer than driving a car. Sorry, I don't trust you.
Train.
I don't trust you. I don't care how many miles you've got logged. I don't care. I do not care when quality is not your number one priority. No. And I mean, anybody listening within the sound of my voice or our voices here, don't even bother. Find another mode of transportation, even if it takes you longer. Your life is worth more than flying in a giant sardine can when you got some guy or some girl that's like, oh, please work on your pronoun pronunciations. I'm this, I want to be labeled. I have this color skin, and you got to respect me. I would just say, fuck these airlines, I had thought we learned a lot from when 9/11 happened. Like, okay, safety and security is going to be our top priority. Boy, have we forgotten that whole theory. We have forgotten that whole world. In just less than a generation, less than 40 years, we've already forgotten how much we changed. And, I hope there's going to be people that go to prison for this for a long time. I hope the FAA is fined and sued. I hope that these people that care more about diversities are fired. I hope that these pilots or these mechanics do not ever work on planes again. If you cannot keep your plane together, you should never even be within 10 feet of those things. Not even on the property, as far as I am concerned. Not even in the factories, for all I care. You should not be hired. If you do not have skills, you don't belong in that industry. You just don't. We're talking about people's lives here and how much you're putting them at risk. The proof is out there right now. The documents prove that this shit was negligence. Even if they're not going to say it out loud, it is negligence. Why do you think there's a criminal investigation? So I'm getting spun up and I don't even fly like Atlas. When I was a kid, we took a field trip to the airport. I was bawling my head off. I think I was like 8 years old. I was bawling my head off because I literally thought being inside the airplane, we were actually going to taxi and start taking off. I was terrified. And I remember, I would see news reports when I was a kid because my parents had to watch the news, and they would show like this one airplane that cartwheeled as it crashed. Like we're talking cartwheel, like tail over nose with the wings. It was just nuts, and just watch the whole thing shatter. And of course 9/11 didn't help either. So, yeah, if that's all they care about is their diversity, then fuck you, and I hope to God your company fails. I really do.
I honestly couldn't. If I had to choose a form of transportation to go, like, say, over water, yeah, I'm going to choose my fear of being on a boat and drowning instead of being in a plane that could fall apart.
Yeah.
I'll trust the boat more.
I would just say, you know what? I'll just drive. No, I mean, I don't care about crossing. I don't care about crossing the ocean because I have nothing that I ever really want to go to. I would just rather just drive, because at least I can trust myself and how I handle a vehicle, and I know how to put my head on a pivot to watch other people.
As long as you're not one of those guys that are gonna drive until you see the black dog.
No,
don't be dumb.
No, I actually am a cautious driver, but I'm also one who's impatient behind the slow driver.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, I am a roll down window, extend arm, place middle finger in an upright position. I am that type of driver. If you piss me off, you're going to get the finger, or you're going to get the high beams, or you're going to get the horn. It's one of the two. One of the three. I'm sorry. I can count.
Actually, no. You get all three.
Yeah.
I've never road raged. If
I don't know. Road
rage
to me is a person
because they want to speed.
Road rage to me is a person that gets out of their vehicle and starts beating on somebody. No, I'm more of the motherfucker screamer inside the vehicle. And my dad's like, "Does that make you feel any better?" I'm like, "Well, actually, yeah, it does. It makes me feel a hell of a lot better." My heart don't like it because my blood pressure rises, but that's probably why I had the heart attack.
Honestly, I've never done that. I've never actually fully screamed at someone. I've only ever mumbled under my breath if someone really irritated me while driving.
No.
Yeah, I've done it.
I'm the guy who says blankety blank 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 blank. Like I get like I like it at demonic levels of anger.
I'm like, I don't even care. You go where you want to go. If you're trying to get there faster, go ahead. I'll just turn my music up and I'll just calm myself down.
All I have to say is there was a time I've seen speeders going down the road, and this is in the middle of winter time. And I'm not kidding you. I saw this one red truck past us, and he's probably doing about 70, 80 miles an hour, but that was speed limit, right? About 5 miles ahead, he was on his roof in the ditch.
Yeah. Karma.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But
if I got someone that's speeding and they want to pass me, I'll probably be a dick and speed up as they're trying to pass me. But that's the most I'll get angry with anyone, is just doing the speed up.
I'm the opposite. I will scream, rant, and rave because I have no self-control sometimes. I really don't. If I'm driving, even my fiance gets, like, she's getting that way too. And I'm like, damn, I really corrupted you, honey. I am so sorry. I corrupted you. I am such a bad guy. But Yeah, I know. I have to make. I have to make it up to her somehow, some way. But I want to take a little bit of a time to read about this. So, this is from The Blaze, and they said the Department of Justice has reportedly opened a criminal investigation after the Boeing 737 blowout on Alaska Airlines flight. The catastrophe occurred while the plane was 16,000 feet in the air, according to the Wall Street Journal. And then it goes on to, following the incident, Alaskan Airlines said, in an event like this, it's normal for the DOJ to be conducting an investigation. We are fully cooperating and do not believe we are the target of the investigation. Oh, like hell you're not. Oh, like hell you're not the target. Yeah. Actually, not only you are going to be the target, but Boeing will be the target because somebody did not do their job. And, this is not only that, but then if you go back a few years, they talk about the two 737 MAX. These are the Boeing MAX planes that crashed in 18 and 19, and 300 people out of both those crashes were killed.
Yep. And remember the same plane that went fucking missing?
Yeah, I heard about that, but I haven't gone deep diving into that story yet.
Yeah, that's also one of them.
So, in other words, a MAX airplane just is not suitable. Kind of reminds me of those Osprey, helicopters or whatever that were kept crashing in the military. That's the ones where the wings actually become like propellers, or like the wings will fold up to a vertical position, and they can also go horizontal. And these things were crashing left and right. And how many soldiers died on those things? So investigators involved in the case have started letting Alaska passengers on board the flight, let me read that again. Investigators involved in the case have started letting Alaskan passengers on board the flight that let them know that they are potential crime victims, according to the journal. So in other words, now that these passengers are considered the victims, I'm starting to wonder who is going to be held responsible. What kind of fines are we looking at, and is there going to be any criminal jail time for these people? Yes, innocent until proven guilty. However, this seems to be a recurring nightmare for the airlines. That
it seems to be happening more and more frequently to the Boeings out of all the other makers out there. And it's time to fucking just ground every single Boeing airplane.
Yep. Or do something where we can't just allow these inspections or whatever to just, I don't get it. You spend millions on these airplanes and you make a fleet of them, and then you sell them to the airlines, and this is the result. Stuff is just falling off the planes. Doors are blowing out. I mean, it just the level of stupidity, I don't think can be underscored.
No,
I mean this is such a breach of trust,
and the countless lives that's
the countless
lost.
and the lack of accountability. Like the companies coming out and say, yeah, we made huge mistakes and we are sorry, because they don't have the balls to stand up and say, yeah, we've messed up. We have put people's lives at risk and we're done doing that. We need to build your trust again. You know what I think at the end of it's ego. All of this, it's all ego. Boeing's one of the biggest manufacturers out there, and they think they have a lot of money. That they think they're untouchable. They don't care about the penalty. So what? Not even death. At the end of the day, after all the investigation and all of that going through, because I guarantee this will probably take at least another year before any kind of hearing takes place. Maybe because they can't rush it. No, and then not only that, what about a congressional hearing? Yeah. What about a committee hearing? What about something like that? I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I think I understand that we have to have a process. But how many more flights are going to take off every single day, every single hour, before something horrible happens. We're reading about it the next day, multiple planes going on fiery crashes because shit broke on their planes. I mean, that's my fear. What is going to happen?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. What say you, Atlas?
I honestly couldn't tell you a whole lot because I would have to agree with almost everything you guys said for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
It's not much we haven't covered that is missing.
Right.
I honestly just don't feel safe with the new standards if this is what we're dealing with.
I don't even call this standards. I call this negligence. I call this absolute horrific. I call this, I'm going to say this, I'm going to call this just pure evil. This is what evil people do when they don't care about human life. They don't care about anything. They care about profit. I mean, look at the cost of airline tickets today. They can barely give them away now, and airlines are barely able to fill up planes now.
I pay like $4,000 for first class if you're lucky enough.
Yeah. And it's going to be more than that because look how much fuel prices are. That all goes back to, what customers are going to pay.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember before 9/11, a girl I was dating at the time, she flew and it was like, I think it was like $150 round trip to fly from the state she was going to college into to my state. $150 round trip. Same flight probably today would cost about $500. And that was coach. That was not first class. That was coach. So yeah, these airlines just don't even give them your dime. I know if you have a job that requires you to travel, I understand that, but again, is your job and career so much more important than your own health and safety and all that? Would you trust your life with these people? Because I certainly wouldn't, and I don't think Atlas would, and I don't think Daz would either. I don't think any of us would trust our lives with these people, but
I think I'd rather leave my life in my own hands behind the wheel of my car.
I tend to agree with that, even though I can be an asshole driver sometimes.
I think we all could.
Yeah, we all probably can. And
honestly,
I
just hope that.
Yeah, go ahead, Ray.
Honestly, I just hope that they ground all the Boeings and do a proper investigation, do a fucking thorough quality assurance check on all the active planes.
Yep.
And fire, demote, do whatever you got to do to fucking Boeing.
Well,
at the end of the day,
then I think you have to.
You can't replace lives.
No, and that's what they don't care about because we're too overcrowded in this world. So therefore, these people dying is just that just adds one more thing to their list of hey, we got to make the planet bigger, so we're going to get rid of people. I mean, who knows if it goes to that level? But you have to wonder what these people are willing to do. Like, at what point do we just say enough? I don't know.
The truth will set everything free.
We hope that you enjoyed the maiden voyage of 1K Frequency with your hosts Dazzo and Atlas, and myself, Skittlecakes. If you have any thoughts or topic ideas or feedback for the show, you can drop us a line at dazradio@hotmail.com. So until next time, don't get canceled.